Hey everybody, welcome to this video. It's the continuation in the series on A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and everything you see in this video comes from the ebook available at mrbruff.com and amazon.co.uk, written by Georgina Bottomley. It contains the complete original novel and all of the analysis as well. So pick up a copy for £3.99 today. So what I'm going to have a look at in this video are a couple of the themes of A Christmas Carol. It's a book that's obviously written with a message in mind. You know, it's quite a simple sort of allegorical novel, but let's pin it down to a couple of the themes. Let's have a look at loneliness and isolation as themes, and then we'll have a look at the use of time and how important that is as well. So the theme of loneliness is apparent from the start of the novella when Scrooge rejects the offer from Fred to spend Christmas with his family and instead returns to his cold house all on his own. Now it seems that Scrooge chooses his own isolation, and so it's difficult to feel any sympathy for him, and his situation during the opening section is not one that makes us warm to him as a character. He's completely preoccupied with making money, and he's got no desire to look out for anyone but himself. In the quotation there, it's enough for a man to understand his own business and not to interfere with other people's. It's a really important quotation. It shows us that Scrooge has clearly isolated himself. It's not that others have constantly pushed him away. In fact, it's quite the contrary. Fred is determined to invite him to Christmas dinner every year, even if Scrooge does keep refusing. He says, "I mean to give him the same chance every year, whether he likes it or not, for I pity him." Now, it's not until Scrooge meets the ghost of Christmas past, who takes him back to his childhood and his days at school, that we see a young and lonely Scrooge. The school is not quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still. So we might expect Scrooge not to care. After all, he's chosen a solitary life in adulthood, but it's clear this memory does affect him emotionally, and we see from the text that he sobbed. And as the novella progresses, Scrooge learns that it is love and compassion rather than money that brings people happiness. He enjoys parties he's shown by the ghosts, and by the end is happy to join Fred for a family celebration. So the message really is that self-inflicted loneliness and isolation is not a good thing. What about time then? Well, time is handled in quite an interesting way in this text. The moving around from the present to the past, back to the present, and into the future before returning to the present could be very confusing. Thankfully, Jacob Marley's visit at the beginning of the novella makes the structure clear. The three spirits, we're told, which follow Marley's appearance are not reincarnations of dead people. They're instead time travellers who enable Scrooge to be reminded of his past and warned about his possible future. So Scrooge is whisked from one scene to another by the spirits, and the pace is also increased by the threat of Tiny Tim's death, and indeed the death of Scrooge himself. It's apparent that if he doesn't change his ways very soon, then Tiny Tim is going to die from his affliction and lack of nutrition and care, and Scrooge himself will die a miserable and lonely man. The clocks strike to emphasise how little time there is left for Scrooge to change, although it's never stated exactly how far away those deaths could actually be. It might be that without this pressure, there'd be a dangerous Scrooge forgetting the lessons from the night he was visited by the spirits and slip back into his old selfish ways. Now, in order that Scrooge can return to Christmas Day, time is again manipulated by Dickens. The spirits all visit at 1 a.m. He goes to sleep at 2, then wakes up at midnight again. So time seems to somehow reset itself. And without this, Scrooge would wake up after Christmas Day is over, and he'd be less able to put his new caring attitude into practice. Whereas Scrooge is initially concerned with time being linked to money, for example, when he doesn't want to give Bob Cratchit Christmas Day off work, he learns that time with family and friends is what is most important for a happy life. So hopefully you found this video useful. Please do subscribe to the channel.